Welcome to the Mike and JD Show YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. I want you to do me a big favor before you check out this clip. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to throw in a comment and make sure you're a subscriber to this channel. And then I want you to share this video with your friends. Help us defeat the algorithm. And then if you like this content and you appreciate this content, please head over to patreon.com/the Mike and JD Show and support the show. That is how we actually get funded to be able to do this. So we thank you very much for being here. And now enjoy the clip.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you rock your A game. A made no rains on the track when we unite and spit. This is an A game, better bring your A game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you rock your A game. A made no rains on the track when we.
All right, guys. There's a bunch of people in the chat here that want to talk free agents. That was the big hook for this show. We got free agency frenzy, is what I'm going to call it. In baseball, we call it the hot stove. Like in the NFL, we got the first day of free agency. I wish that all contracts came due at the same time. And then like Dave Meltzer and Sean Ross Sapp and Mike Johnson and everybody would have to just like Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport and all these guys and Ken Rosenthal in baseball and Wojnarowski in basketball. Like they're just like working the phones 24/7, figuring out which player is going to go to which team and all this and that. So free agency frenzy. Lots of people have just gotten out of their deals. WWE 90-day clauses are up as of a couple weeks ago. A lot of New Japan contracts are expiring. AEW contracts are expiring. And Mercedes Moné been a free agent for a while, man. And we thought, I think we did, last time we were here, we were all in on her going to WWE. And then Joe and Rich thought maybe she'd be going to TNA. But it looks like she's very much back in play with AEW, and that she's very likely to be debuting there imminently.
I think we had this conversation a year ago. I'll believe it when I see. I'll believe it when I see it. The sources that I trust say it's probably going to happen. I would assume it's probably going to happen, but I don't think you can count it until it does, especially with her, right? Because she could be a bit prickly when it comes to the contract negotiation stuff. So I don't know. I think it could be a game changer for WWE, or for AEW. Excuse me. Can a major woman be a major draw? Because I don't think she was with New Japan, but New Japan's also hard to watch, right? Yeah. It's not like watching there's the Access show, but Access is Access. Do a bunch of Sasha Stans come with her if she goes to AEW? My instinct is no, but I'd like to be proven wrong.
Well, I think AEW would do a better job of promoting her. They just have more resources domestically to be able to promote her on a bigger platform.
For sure.
Their production is so much better. Like you said, New Japan's hard to watch. Yeah, New Japan's hard to watch because New Japan's strong. Domestically, their pay-per-views are always usually produced pretty poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And they always look pretty bad. So I think their latest one was probably looking their best, but for the most part, those domestic pay-per-views did not look very good. And she didn't do too many matches for New Japan proper. And I think she only did a couple matches for Stardom, and Stardom, every Stardom match is a pay-per-view, right? All their events are pretty much pay-per-views.
I know they have a lot of pay-per-views. I don't know if they're all of them. I don't think all of them because they do a lot. They tour a lot. They run a lot of shows, but I am not a Joshi expert by any stretch of imagination, so I don't even want to pretend. I don't know. I think that I think AEW kind of needs to land her because the last wave of guys has gone so in WWE's favor that I think they kind of need a big win right now. So if I'm Tony, I think you kind of have to open up the checkbook.
Yeah, and I don't care if it's for $5 million. I think you're going to overpay for her, but I think this would let everybody know that he really is serious about making his women's division a
serious
co-equals with their men's division, right? Isn't in TNA, it's not so much that TNA had the greatest wrestlers in their knockouts division, but they were presented as co-equals with the men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there weren't as many women's matches, but very often the women would be main eventing those shows, even probably to the detriment of pay-per-view buys. But they did it just because they wanted to present it as being co-equals. I think AEW still has not done that. They've headlined a couple of episodes of Dynamite and Rampage with the women, but a pay-per-view, a major event, they have not done that yet. And I think with Mercedes Moné, you might be able to get there, especially if they're going to monthly pay-per-views.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think there's been a women's story that could have main evented a pay-per-view in AEW, realistically speaking. There's not one there that exists.
There was a good one with Britt Baker for a little while, and I think they just headlined a Dynamite with it. I just can't remember who her opponent was. It's
Baker,
been
it
a
was
while.
Baker and Rose. It was Baker and Thunder Rosa. It was that awesome.
Yeah,
It was an awesome match, but
yeah,
it was a Dynamite. And at the time, they were only running 4 pay-per-views a year. So and I
yeah.
want to say that was in like March or something. So the timing wasn't right up. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's been a women's story that's been hot enough. Now you get Mercedes in there, maybe you can.
Yeah,
Maybe you
you got
can.
they got Mercedes, they got Mariah May, who I think is going to work out pretty well for them,
I think so too.
and they just debuted Deanna Prazo off of Impact Television, and people keep telling me that nobody watches Impact, but boy oh boy, when Deanna
I heard
showed
a
up
lot.
there,
Heard a lot of cheers. Heard a lot of cheers. I
yeah,
also heard a lot of people go, Deanna sounded very nervous. And I'm like, no, Deanna sounded like Deanna. Like if
yeah,
you watch as a couple Impact guys, I could tell like I
yeah,
didn't even think twice about it. I'm like, no, that's just Deanna's voice. That's how she sounds.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
kind of
That's
squeaky.
just that's just how she sounds. I wouldn't
Mhm.
really read too much into it. I kept thinking that like the voice would change over time in TNA. It just never did. Like
Nope,
that's
that's her.
just how she sounds. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's okay. As far as in the ring, like she's
She's
up
great.
at the top right there with everybody.
Yeah.
People keep comparing her to Serena Deeb. But guys, I'm going to tell you, the reason why you keep comparing her to Serena Deeb, she's also Rip Rogers trained. I think Serena probably helped train Deanna. But
Hmm.
Deanna's about 10 years younger. So, Deanna's
She's better. Let's be real. We don't have to sugarcoat it.
I,
Deanna's
okay.
better.
Dude, I told Jeff Hawkins that she was better than Serena Deeb, and I don't think he's talking to me right now. It was like the time I told him that Joe Burrow was a system quarterback. He kind of threw his hands up at me.
Deanna, is there anyone more overrated than Serena Deeb?
I
Woman
think
that's had a
Serena
match in
Deeb.
2 years.
Yeah, I think Serena Deeb is a very good technical wrestler. I
I
don't
agree.
find her to be interesting. I just
No,
don't.
I agree.
I think Deanna is interesting.
I agree.
She isn't the only thing that holds her back. The promos aren't even bad, but her voice is kind of what holds her back a little bit. But the way TNA presented her as like a major star, like you
Mhm.
believed it when she walked in. I think the virtuosa character and the gimmick is awesome. I
I
like
agree.
everything about her presentation. And
I
if
agree.
you're asking me who I'd rather have, I'd much rather have Deanna than Serena Deeb.
100%. Because again, like I said, she's a decade younger, right? You're gonna get
Yeah.
more out of her. I think she's better on the microphone. I grant she has this kind of squeaky. Maybe you could say whiny. I don't know. Like it's just her voice. It's just her inflections. Like I would honestly, she might be the best one there right now.
You can make that argument. Yeah, you can make that argument. I think some of the Joshi fans might try to assassinate you for
I said
saying that because they do have some Joshi
they
talent
would
there.
try to do that anyway. They're
Yeah,
like she is great, but she's barely on the show, right?
yeah.
Riho's barely on the show. Like
Riho shows up, does a match, and then you don't see her again for like 6 months.
for
So
if you're lucky, 6 months.
yeah,
Like Riho's on like the Andre the Giant schedule. She's touring the territories, you know.
yeah. King of the North says that Athena is lurking. Yeah,
Athena's
Athena.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, when she gets called up from Ring of Honor, when she gets called up from NXT, she's gonna be doing pretty good. And then he also says Megan Bay and Camille versus Chris Statler and Willow Nightingale. So let's go ahead and talk about but let's talk about Camille. It's she's on WWE's radar. I had her pegged for TNA. Honestly, because she's coming off of NWA.
anyway.
Nobody really knows her yet. She's got this great look. She's super like got this presence about her. But I was like, maybe she needs some time in TNA before she heads over to AEW or WWE. But it looks like WWE is kind of interested. So that's probably where she's heading.
I mean, she's good. She's got a great look. Like she's pretty jacked. And I don't know. They did all right with Eli Drake, who also came off of NWA programming right to WWE, and that worked out
Yeah.
just fine.
Yeah, that is true. Maybe they can take Bram too. That would be cool. We can get
Maybe
because I think John Gerberg is back in WWE, isn't he? So like I think he's
Oh,
like an
is he
assistant
really?
there. I think he
Oh, I
went
didn't know
back. I'm
that.
not. Yeah, I think he went back. So maybe they redo the photo there with Bram and John Gerberg that I love so much.
Oh, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Bram sucks.
Trinity leaving TNA set to return to WWE. This one hurt my feelings a little bit because look, I'm not a fan of her in-ring work, but I just thought that she was good for TNA. I thought like like her presence or everything, the whole gimmick, everything about her and then like the bell rings and you're getting like 3 stars, sometimes less. So that sucks, right? But I thought she was just like a good person to have in TNA. She always came across as like the biggest star on the show. But it looks like she was just kind of using TNA to be a stepping stone to get back to where she always wanted to be, which was WWE. And now that Papa H is back in charge, she and her husband's a big star there, clearly. So it looks like she's heading back over there, man.
Which Uso is she married to? Is she married to Yeet Uso or Drunk Uso? I'm not sure which one it is.
Is Yeet Uso not Drunk Uso? I don't know which one was getting in trouble. I really don't know.
I think the Uso with the long hair, with the full long hair, was the one who kept getting the DUIs. Right?
Dude, I honestly I don't know. And I think that's to their advantage, because like you don't know which one to be mad at.
That's a great call, actually. When you have a twin, you can get away with stuff.
Yeah. Okay, here comes our fact checker. Oh, not the King of the North said
both
both of them. No, but John
one
Muse
of them has more.
John Muse
Jimmy.
is a Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy.
So yeah, okay, yeah. Jimmy's one with the. Which one is? Yeah, Jimmy. Yeah, she's married to DUI Uso.
Yeah.
Has Trinity lost a match in the company? I don't think she
has.
Has she?
No, she hasn't. She's only been there like 6 months. So and you know what? I don't care. That part doesn't bother me. She's gonna lose the title to Jordan Grace. She's gonna finish up her dates. I hate the way that TNA treated Deanna on her way out. They knew 6 months ahead of time Deanna wasn't coming back, and they beat her for 6 months straight. And it got to the point where beating Deanna doesn't really mean anything. So now if Jordan Grace beats Trinity at Hard to Kill, which she's very likely to do that, then it actually means something, because you beat somebody, right? You didn't just beat somebody that's been on a losing streak for 6 months. So that doesn't bother me. And she hasn't had that many matches either. She beat Deanna a couple times. She beat Alicia. She beat Mickey James. No big deal. DUI.
Did we steal that from Joe? Sorry, Joe. It's a good one.
Yeah. But we got, dude, there's more free agent news.
Chat's
dude,
popping.
Nick Nemeth. Nick Nemeth debuts in dude, JD, you're wrong.
I know.
Did you watch Wrestle Kingdom?
I didn't see the whole show. I watched what Nick Nemeth did, and I have to be honest with you, is the best he's looked in years.
Dude, he turned me around. I did a complete 180, and I know that people roll their eyes at me because I'm very temperamental and I can do 180s pretty easily. But but I thought he looked like $1 million sitting out there at ringside. I loved the fight with David Finlay, and I loved the presser. I loved his promo afterwards talking about the importance. He made it seem like this new global title that means absolute shit. He made it seem like it was the most important thing in the entire world to him. I was like, damn it, he sold me, man. Like, hell yeah. Look at him. I'm curious to see what he's going to do there in New Japan.
It was a good debut. Let's see where it goes from here.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, he's always been a pretty good worker, right? And he could always cut a decent promo. It just seemed like he was apathetic his last bunch of years in WWE. Like it came across like he was just collecting a paycheck, right? Like just kind of going through the motions and didn't really have anything to sink his teeth into. So maybe now that he's motivated, and that's going to be the big question. Is he motivated to use these places to get himself back into WWE so he can do one last little run and then work main event for 10 more years? Or is he just motivated to prove all the doubters wrong? And I'm curious to see exactly how that works out for him.
I want to see what actually happens when he's in the ring in New Japan, because the work style is different than WWE. You've got to put on a little bit extra. People had the same knock on Moxley when he jumped, right? When Moxley when they announced Moxley was going to the G1, people were like, I don't know if this guy can do a G1. And then it turned out, he's actually really great at wrestling. So let's see what Nick Nemeth still has in the tank. Because listen, I don't love the guy, but I cannot deny what I saw with my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, Diego agrees. He said, I thought he was going to follow the path of the WWE releases from the mid-2010s. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah. But when he showed up in New Japan, I was like, okay, this guy's taking himself seriously. He's the TNA surprise, isn't he? This is from King of the North. I think that he will be. I don't think that him going to New Japan is going to preclude him from going to TNA. I think he'll probably end up working both.
They have a working relationship. No problem at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and as far as I can tell, there have been no reports saying that Nemeth has signed an exclusive contract. He could just be there to work a program, right? Maybe a program or two. Maybe then they can extend him, book him for days for G1 or something, let him do a G1. A lot of these guys that think they're super workers, they want to go and prove themselves in Japan, right? Especially guys that were in WWE for a long time.
Mhm.
that take themselves seriously. It seems like we don't have enough proof. We haven't seen him in the ring yet. The Dolph might be one of those guys. A guy that doesn't take himself seriously and does not care about wrestling. Rick Boogs. He just retired. So he can't be in WWE. He doesn't want to wrestle anymore, which you know what? I agree with you, buddy. Just stay retired.
It's fine. Like, did anybody have Rick Boogs is going to be someone that was going to be a guy? No, it's
No.
fine.
Yeah.
Thanks for not wasting our time. That I appreciate.
Yeah, I respect it. Honestly, I'm glad he's just came out like, look, if I can't be at the top, I don't want to be here. So he's gonna go, run a gym and sell smoothies and steroids.
Great name for a gym. Yeah. I had a joke, but yours was better, so I'm gonna let you win that one.
Sorry. Alexander Hammerstone, MLW. He became a free agent on January 1st.
Speaking of smoothies and steroids,
yeah, speaking of smoothies, and now he's booked against Josh Alexander for a hard to kill man. And I love that match. And I like Hammerstone and TNA. I think it's great.
I'm curious to see what they do with him. I like Hammerstone better as a heel than a face. I think he just makes for a better heel. I think it suits his talents and suits his persona better. And Josh is so goddamn likable. I'm excited. I hope they sign Hammerstone because I think it could be a really good marriage. Like, I think they need a guy and Hammerstone needs a home. And I think this could work really well.
Yeah, when it was coming up that him and Camille were both like they're becoming free agents at the beginning of the year, they were like my top two choices for TNA to sign. Obviously, aside from like Punk and Ospreay and like all those people that we knew that they never really could sign. But I was like, look, at TNA's level, and I think that people are kind of coming back down to earth a little bit, right? Scott D'Amore got everybody a little bit too excited, and he even backpedaled a little bit, so much so that our friend BQ he did a whole podcast about it, and his thumbnail said Scott the Backpedaler. So I gotta give a shout out to BQ. I was like, look, no matter how long I stay in podcasting, I'm never gonna beat that thumbnail. So I hate you, BQ. But that was great. So now we're kind of getting back to reality a little bit, and I was like, Hammerstone is like perfect for the level that TNA is at. I love coming in.
He's pretty good too, though.
Yeah,
right. And he's got a little bit of a throwback, but he's not quite Brian Cage. Like, he's not that, because Brian Cage does cool shit. Like, Hammerstone's good, but he's not that. Right. I think he could be really good in this company. Like, I'm really excited. I'm more excited to watch him and Josh than anything else that they announced in Hard to Kill before this, to be honest with you. So I'm excited.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree with you there. Andrade set to return to WWE imminently. I almost said imminently.
Imminently.
Yeah. He worked the C2 and got out of his deal somehow. It expired, I guess, on right after World's End. He dropped a fall to Miro there, and they finished up that storyline. And looks like he's going to be heading back to WWE here really soon.
My internet went kaputski on me for a second, so I have no idea what you just said. Sorry, Mike.
I'm introing you. So speak on Andrade going back to WWE.
He is a malcontent. He hated being there. He tried to fight everyone in his sights. He was miserable. He cannot be happy anywhere. Now he's Hunter's problem again. He can be with his wife, do mid-card stuff for the LWO, and whatever. He looked good on his way out, though. So,
yeah. I thought he was very impressive in the C2, and if that's the guy that WWE gets, great for WWE. But we don't know how long that would last. This guy has always been a problem everywhere he's gone. He was miserable in WWE when he was miserable in WWE when he was there. He was wanting to get out of his deal. He got out of his deal, went to AEW.
He was miserable in AEW. Yeah. He was miserable in CMLL. He was miserable in New Japan. At some point, maybe it's you.
Yeah. And King Lord says, can he take Miro with him? That would be great. I would love that. And so would Miro. Miro would love nothing more than to go back to Papa H. I think that's exactly where he wants to be. So also becoming a free agent, speaking of New Japan, 8th grade Adam Page becoming a free agent, Clark Connors.
That surprises me, actually. And I don't know. I guess NXT can pick him up or something like that. I mean, I'm not a huge Clark Connors guy. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, it'd be fine, I guess.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of his. Like, he's a good little wrestler, but I don't know. He reminds me of Jeremy Allen White. Like, he just likes like this little guy with muscles trying to play a big guy. It's like I don't know. I've just never been into Clark Connors.
Yeah, he's fine. He's whatever.
Yeah. Elias, he's now Elijah. And he is, I guess he's going to be trying to get signed by somebody here pretty soon, but he's not. He is not retiring. He is a guy that I felt like he would just be, performing at shitty dive bars, doing guitar stuff and singing songs. But it looks like he's going to keep wrestling. He did a whole vignette, which looked like it was filmed by the TNA production staff. To be honest with you, like I thought that was just something that they produced. So I get the feeling that's probably where he's going, but who knows? But Elijah is no longer Elias.
Now you can really take that honky tonk man rip off to the next level and just do this for the next 50 years. So I could care less. I just does for the rest of his career.